Welcome to one of the smallest police departments in our region.
Years ago, they created the park police.
The team of 11 oversees parks, a lot of them.
Just over 100.
Why a police department for parks?
We've had needles and drug paraphernalia that we've had to pick up before we let our kids go out there.
We want to make sure that the parks are safe.
Safe for those who play at any age.
We are also protective of the nature too. Trees, ponds, rivers, animals, the people, sports teams, weddings, concerts, everyone.
The department's been around since the 60s. It's under the Fulton Camino Park District, and its officers believe it's really important.
The absence of crime shows that the police department's being successful.
Park police employees say their agency eases the Sacramento Sheriff's workload and often responds faster, as the Sheriff's office is tied up with high-priority calls county-wide. It's why, to some residents, the small department makes a big difference.
Oh my gosh, I could not personally live without the Fulton El Camino Park Police.
They do a lot more for the community than the community even realizes.
Officers and rangers don't make a living from this job.
Everybody is part-time.
We all come in outside of our normal full-time jobs.
Each employee gets around $200 a week, records show. That's less pay than at California fast food chains.
It's about giving back to the community that I live in.
But employees question what's happening inside the agency, especially with their interim police chief, Chief Beth Johnson.
I would say it's unprecedented.
ABC 10 spoke with 9 current and former park police and district employees, all of whom voiced similar concerns. 2 agreed to speak on camera representing their colleagues on the condition their identities be protected.
I can recall being notified that she had been hired 2 days before she began working.
Board of Directors regular meeting is called to order at 7:15.
The police chief position was never posted, records requests reveal, and there was no swearing-in ceremony for Johnson, these employees say.
And the reason that was surprising is because when chiefs of police and interim chiefs of police have hired, there's a very specific and public process that goes into it.
Like reporting her new position to California's Commission on Peace Office Standards or Training. It's a legal requirement, but records show it was not done for Johnson.
Very under the radar and trying to be very discreet.
And that's not all. These employees believe the legally required background check, psychological, and medical evaluation were never done on Johnson.
None of that was done. You will not find another chief of police role where a chief of police, interim or permanent, is simply selected.
When ABC 10 asked if the required checks were done for Johnson, the district did not answer. They said the Fulton El Camino Park District's board approved her selection from retired police chiefs with the assistance of recruiters specializing in law enforcement hiring. All of these concerns about Chief Johnson lead to an even bigger question. Why is she being paid so much?
It's incomprehensible to me.
She gets around $16,800 a month, records show. That's over $220,000 a year of public funds for her part-time position.
Which is the highest Fulton El Camino Parks and Recreation District has ever paid a person.
When Erickson was chief, records he provided ABC 10 show the most he made in an entire year was $16,300, less than what Johnson makes in a month.
I think I got like $50 an hour. I don't understand it, but the board must have approved it.
The board approved it, despite records listing the annual pay for the park police chief position at $32 an hour, around $33,000 annually.
And she's in the Bay Area. She's not even here.
My relationship has been non-existent, and I would say that is the same feeling shared by every single member of this agency.
The district defended Johnson's hiring, calling her a 30-year veteran in California law enforcement and was brought on to assess issues identified by outside reviews of the agency. Here's Johnson discussing the police department in an August meeting.
We are not functioning as we should as a police department. That is incredibly dangerous, both for our staff and for the district.
The district did not respond to our questions about her salary. Employees have their own opinion on why she's there.
So you're saying Beth was hired to disband the FEC Park Police?
That's correct.
Employees say since arriving to run the department, Johnson seems to be leading a charge to shut it down.
Disbanded. And that breaks my heart. I mean, it almost makes me teary-eyed.
They claim the Park District's general manager, Emily Ballas, handed Johnson the job in an effort to dismantle the police department.
Emily's primary goal is disbanding the agency.
The department's been operating successfully for years, but once Ballas came on board, the number of contracted parks they oversee dwindled.
As of 2 years ago, we were overseeing just over 100, and now we're about 60 to 70.
ABC 10 tried to speak with Ballas multiple times. She declined, yet called our reporting a smear campaign in emails to the Park District Board. In a written statement, she said the district's considering options to make sure the police department aligns with professional standards due to significant changes in California law and community expectations around policing, and why she says they hired outside experts to review the agency.
They could not have been cheap.
Ballas told ABC 10 they spent over $42,000 on multiple reviews or audits of the police department over the last 3 years.
So auditing any government entity is a very common thing. What is unusual is the successive amount of them that have been conducted. I believe there's been 3 or 4 over the past number of years.
So put simply, you believe these audits are being done in an effort to disband the Park Police?
Yes.
ABC 10 reviewed 2 audits. They highlighted issues including inadequate training, part-time staffing, and a need for better policies and record keeping. Johnson and Ballas have continued to refer to the audit's findings, like in this meeting.
How we are currently functioning is a huge risk to this district. It is unprofessional, it is not acceptable in current modern-day policing, so a shift does have to happen.
Current and former employees disagree, saying the audits were not fair as they compare the Park Police with a 1,000-plus employee organization like the Sacramento Police Department.
They're apples and oranges. There's a little mom and pop market right up the street here. There's a need for that mom and pop market, but you can't compare them to Bel Air and Raley's and Safeway. This is like a mom and pop police department.
But the risks of law enforcement are equal, no matter the agency.
I actually feel our liability is as low as it could possibly be. We've had 1 officer-involved shooting in the history of the agency.
A low rate compared to other law enforcement agencies in our region, he says, and data reveals. Their liability is limited, they say, thanks to the sheriff's office.
They're more involved in more dangerous scenarios than the Park Police will be. Our main mission is definitely the quality of life.
Emails provided to ABC 10 show years ago, Park Police employees tried to address and fix other issues highlighted in the audits. Instead of considering these suggestions, sources allege General Manager Ballas ordered costly audits. Meanwhile, meeting minutes show Johnson naming the police department as a financial hardship.
We cannot properly fund a police department as it currently stands. And so that's kind of the bigger issue.
If they're talking about budget and they're talking about saving money, how can they spend, first, all this money on these audits?
And how can they spend all this money on not just Johnson's salary, but also Ballas's, sources ask. Together, Johnson and Ballas make over $334,000. So 2 people make the equivalent of 66% of the Park Police's annual budget.
That money could easily be distributed to more training, vehicle repairs, better equipment.
Yet the Park District is asking taxpayers for more money this election through Measure Q. The bond would give the Park District $24 million for improvements on lighting, cameras, fencing, and other structures. More money, but not for the police department, leaving employees with even more questions.
Are they doing what's best for the community with those taxpayer dollars?
They say the Park District is operating in the dark.
Include the community. Include those people you serve.
ABC 10 heard from community members. Craig Fowler's business and home is across from a park in Carmichael.
This would be in peril, great peril of delinquency and bad behavior if they weren't a resource for us to call.
John Todd monitors the pulse of the Rio Linda community as the publisher of Rio Linda Online.
I don't know of anybody in town who thinks we get enough law enforcement. We really don't get our fair shake from Sacramento County Sheriff's Department.
Others just want answers.
Who's going to respond to the park calls? It's not going to be the Sheriff's Department. They can't already handle what they already have.
I've never seen the chief out here in the parks, and I've seen just about every other officer. So with that type of salary, where can we cut back?
To them, these areas are a haven and need protection.
And it's just, to me, what life should be all about, is people interacting with other people and enjoying their life, because today's a gift. That's why they call it the present.
While the future of the park police remains unclear.